It's bad. Anime.
Conventions, balls, and wieners. I pressed record.
We love conventions, especially conventions about balls and wieners. Hello, my name is John.
My name is Rob.
And this is Bad Anime, the podcast where we decide, is this anime bad?
You keep changing the goddamn rhythm on me.
I know, I've been changing the cadence on you. I've been finding it funny. I don't know why.
You just love fucking with me. It's fine if you want to.
But the best part is I'm going to cut it up so that it kind of matches, but not completely. Because the remote episodes, you can never get it completely right. But, we're going to just do it.
Yeah, especially when over Zoom. Because if I was in person with you, I could read your body language more and see what kind of metronome you're going for. Or sorry, just see what the cadence is or the rhythm. And next thing, but now since we're not physically together, I'm going off a computer screen that lags. So I'm like, oh, god damn it. The musician in me is very mad. Did I say my name's Rob yet? I think I did. This is Gundam.
We got bamboozled this time around. I'm going to start with a rant because...
Oh, sure.
We were talking about this a little bit before the show, but we watched previously the Gundam Prologue.
The Gundam
Witch from Mercury.
Witch from Mercury Prologue. It was like a random episode they aired a couple of months before the show.
Yeah.
As of recording, episode 5 is coming out tomorrow. So
yes.
We're hopping this, and we actually just recorded an episode on Chainsaw Man as well. We're getting pretty active in the fall season. We
really are. We're really diving headfirst into these 3-episode rules, and this time around, once again, I mean, we watched the first 3 episodes. I mean, maybe I'm gonna say we watched the first 3 episodes, but I have a sinking suspicion that somebody may have gone to the 4th episode already.
We'll keep talking.
But we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
Anyways, we watched the prologue of this first, and we have a podcast about it. Go check it out if you want.
Yeah, go check it out.
It was just on YouTube, so it was just like for everybody.
So we just clicked it, and you can watch the prologue very easily. Yeah, it's right on YouTube. And I think they're posting a few of these episodes on YouTube. I'm not sure if they are.
Oh, interesting.
The Gundam official people. Yeah.
Huh, okay. Pretty cool.
It's smart.
Yeah, I know. Get it out there, right? I mean, the more people to see it, the better, right?
Exactly.
I think. So we got into this one. We got into the series proper because we were like, okay, the prologue was interesting, and obviously, I've never really seen a Gundam before, and Rob is a big Gundam head, so we decided why not just dive into the series and see what it's all about.
And for those of you, we're spoiling what we thought of the prologue now, but I love the prologue. I thought it was very. Again, it was one of the things. It reminded me a lot of the end of Evangelion because of the plot structure and just a team of scientists getting massacred by another team of scientists who didn't agree with the methodologies that they were using.
It was very much our science is better than your science, and your science is sacrilegious. So here's a gun.
Yeah, what you're doing is an affront to God. So we're gonna massacre all of you. That makes sense? No, tell that to most of world history.
We're killing an affront to God by making an affront to God. If that makes any sense, baby. It's the Crusades all over again.
Exactly.
In space.
Okay, now Space Crusaders in my mind. That sounds like a great time.
It's like that show that we were talking about previously. Legends of the Galactic Hero, Battlestar Galactica.
I threw up right after we finished recording that episode.
You did?
Yeah.
Incredible. How did you feel afterwards?
Good.
Like a weight had been lifted?
Yeah, I took an hour and a half nap, and I'm like, I think I'm okay.
Wow. That honestly is a more impressive Legend of the Galactic Hero than anything that we saw in that show.
It was just boring.
It was just very boring. But this was not. Gundam was not.
No, this was not. Well, it's
very good.
Here's the thing. I re-listened to the prologue episode before we recorded today. Just to, because I'm pretty sure, because I still know how I felt, but I always want to make sure I articulate my point properly. So when I was talking about the prologue, I mentioned how Gundam, can usually fall into 2 different sects in terms of tonality, whether being pretty lighthearted or very damn dark.
Right.
The prologue was dark. The first 3 episodes, what we got here, were not.
It was a very different mix of emotions we got because the prologue, as you said, very close to an end of Evangelion, very dark, very there's a lot of crazy stuff going on.
A lot of drama.
This one, they did a few things differently. Number one, changing everybody's name
Well,
and
it makes narrative sense. Well, they didn't change
It does.
everyone's name. They changed 2 characters' names.
right,
Everyone
the
else.
daughter and the mother had name changes, but that
Exactly.
was specifically to which I
Hide
didn't
their identity.
actually get. To be honest, I was big dumb idiot over here, and I didn't actually understand that until you mentioned it to me today. When you were
really?
like, "Well, yeah, they just did it to hide their identities." I was like, "Oh, I just thought they were like, fuck these character names. Let's go with these character names."
No, they very much had to hide their identities because, think about it. Their entire lab and place where they lived was killed. Their father was killed. Their whole, basically their whole, I guess you could say clan,
Hey,
for
listen,
lack of a better term.
I get it. I had no idea how they managed to get her into this weird school. I had no idea. I was like, bro, you know that she's like technically labeled a terrorist by the government, right? How did she get in this school? And why is her name different? All this shit I just don't understand.
Why is she called Lady Prospera? Oh.
Oh.
Why is she wearing a mask? Wait a minute.
Oh. It all
yeah.
really adds up now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, but so again, that was so I wasn't too surprised when I heard that part of the name changing. What's kind of cool is so we have a 12-year time jump here between the attack on between like the people. I keep forgetting the group's name.
Gund?
Well, no, that's what they were developing. I forget what the group. But anyway, let's just call them the Gundam people.
Let's just call him Sele or something, you know?
We can't keep doing that because we do that every time we don't know what to call a group. We just keep referring to other groups from other mechas we
What
watched.
about like Verm or
That's the one you use the most.
possibly Nerv, maybe?
We're going with the Gundam people.
Great.
We're
Okay,
going,
that's
we're
fine.
going with the
I-
Gundam people.
You know, we can meet in the middle on that. I'll meet you.
No, you look so disappointed. You look visibly upset we can't call them Sele.
I just want to call everything Sele. Continue. I'm sorry.
It's a good name, so I understand.
It is a good name.
But yeah, so it's been 12 years since the Gundam people basically were almost wiped out with at the time Elnora and Eric escaping.
Right.
So now we have Eric is now known as Suleta Mercury.
And they really let you know. Boy, do they.
Well, they love saying her name so much, and they kind of have to because when I saw this, I really didn't know how to feel because at one point I thought it was creative, and at the same token though, I thought, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Because they're
when we enter an academy setting.
Yep.
That
the
part got me
academy
where
setting.
where I'm just like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, I was like, we're doing this? Really? We're doing the school thing? Oh,
Yeah.
God.
It irked me only because I have seen so many anime set in a school, and I'm tired of it. I've never seen a Gundam do it, so I guess points for combining stuff and making.
So this is new for Gundam, huh?
From what I've seen, yes.
Wow.
Again, there's a couple of the standalone series I haven't seen, so I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure this is the straight up first time we ever saw like a formal like academy setting, like a Yu-Gi-Oh! GX style academy setting.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
no, this is the first for Gundam.
Wow. Okay,
So
cool.
That's cool in a way, but then again, this is already a big first for Gundam having a female protagonist, so we could have read that a little more, and we could have really kind of built more with that instead of going to another familiar trope. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or at least a trope that I'm not personally so fucking tired of. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, I did. I didn't exactly sigh when I saw it, but I just expected a little something else when the first episode started.
Yeah.
And they kind of were, giving her a tour of this academy, and she was like the new kid at the academy. I was like, oh, really? I mean, that's fine, but like, man, you're really giving me, especially with the mechs, like,
Yeah.
I really it just blew in my mind Infinite Stratos immediately.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of comparisons to make here with fucking Infinite Stratos, which is never something you want to be compared to.
Not really. Yeah. And this was just, I think it may have redeemed itself in some capacities, but it really did start off on like okay, all right, that's what we're doing. Okay, well, I mean, I gotta watch it, so I'm gonna watch it. But
Exactly.
but I was like, okay, I mean, maybe I would tune out a little bit if we didn't want to do this for the podcast.
Exactly.
But whatever, I stuck with it, and we'll let you know how we felt about the ending. But I think when I got into it, right, you have. Wow! They spent so long beating her name into my head, and I still Suletta Mercury.
There you go.
Suletta Mercury. She is the new kid at this Gundam Academy. Well, not a Gundam Academy, but like a giant robot academy, right?
Yeah. Very big difference. Yeah.
Right. Gundams are notably banned.
Yeah, they're no-nos because
cannot legally have one.
Yep, in this world, Gundams are created by the Gund people and are associated with that the Gund format, which can presumably kill a pilot.
Right. So she has entered this academy, and there's I feel like it's pretty copy paste in terms of like the characters we get alongside her. In my mind, we get like Myrene. Who is this kind of like rich daughter, and she's like not really into talking to Suletta at first, and Suletta's just trying to
she's just trying to grow her tomatoes.
Exactly, she's just trying to grow tomatoes, which I thought was a pretty cool thing, And
this is also a familiar thing
space,
this is a familiar sci-fi trope, and a little bit so in Gundam, the whole Spatians versus Earthlings mentality.
Right. Yes,
that's the whole crux of the original Gundam. It's the 1 year war between the Principality of Zeon, the space people, and the Earth Federation, who are obviously from space, Earth.
Earth.
But yeah, so like the Spatian dynamic is one that's very important to Gundam, and sometimes you get scenes like this with like the people who were born and raised in space really wanting to get back to Earth. So, how do you is that Miriam? I always forget how her name is pronounced.
Myrene.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was more like close to Miriam. I don't know. Miran. I gotta fucking pull it up.
You want to just call her Mio? Her name is spelled Mioirne.
Miran.
Okay.
Mirone.
Mirone.
I think it's Mirone.
It's like Italian. Mirone.
Mirone. No, I think it was Mirone.
Mirone.
Yeah. Mirone. Sure.
Let's go with that.
She's actually. But the thing is, what's interesting about her is who her father is.
That's right.
Her father was Delling, who was the guy in the prologue who ordered the execution of all the Gund people.
Right.
And he has since risen to higher political office. And it's really the political stuff that got me more invested this time around.
Me too. I definitely echo that sentiment.
Because
100%.
there was a one point where another character was about to assassinate Delling.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of just happened very quickly. I'm like, oh, we're already trying to kill him off? Cool.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I did like the politics of the whole show. I think that was probably the times that I tuned in most when it was politics driven, especially when the kids got involved in the politics as well.
Yes.
And you got like Lady Prospera, who is, of course, Suletta Mercury's mother, like Elnora campaigning for things. And they're both... Also, to give a little more background on Suletta and Lady Prospera, they bill themselves as from Mercury.
Yes.
And I'm not sure exactly. They don't really go in depth, as far as I know, of where they grew up and where they settled after the whole Gundam explosion happened. But it sounds to me like they set up on a colony on Mercury and began living there. And they changed their names and they started developing more Gundams.
Mobile suits. Yep. Yes. And they started developing mobile suits. We're unsure if this one's a Gundam or not because Lady because at one point, and this is pretty cool how this happens. So the first episode, it's Suletta fumbling away from school because instead of like the spunky, like kind of just like happy-go-lucky 4-year-old we get in the prologue, she's now a cripplingly socially awkward 16-year-old.
Yes.
Super shy, usually speaks with a stammer or stutter, is always looking down, having a hard time relating to people. So but we don't know what's going on with her yet. We don't know what happened in the 12 years intervening between when most of her family was killed and now. So could be a lot of trauma there. I'm very curious to see what they do with this. A little disappointed though because all the promotional material made her look very powerful and strong.
Yeah, badass.
So I was kind of expecting more of a revenge narrative. That might be what we get more as the show develops because modern anime loves starting off very light and then spanking you.
Yep.
Once you think everything's okay. Ranking of Kings is probably the most recent example of a show doing that. I mean, it's classic Ava, it's classic Devilman, so I like that device. So it gives me some hope. But anyway, so Suletta's just kind of around, trying to adjust. She gets Miorine. Yep, Miorine. Rembrandt. So let's just call her Mio. Fuck it, it's too long.
Mio, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Suletta starts getting like familiar with Mio, and Mio just wants no part of it. It's like, leave me alone. I hate my life. Because
Yeah, very much that energy. Leave me alone. I hate my life.
Yeah, because Mio, unfortunately, her father dictates a lot of what she does all the time.
Yep.
Her father's one who enrolled her in like the Mobile Suit Academy. It's her father's really controlling almost everything she does.
Right.
And she actually tries to escape once or twice back to to go to Earth because she wants out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Suletta doesn't really fascinate her, but then Mio becomes very quickly indebted to her in a way.
Yes, she does.
We also learn Mio, our friend Mio here, is actually kind of in an arranged marriage.
Yes, her father, in the spirit of controlling her entire life, has also arranged a marriage for her to this other guy, Guel Jeturk.
Yep, Guel Jeturk, and it's crazy because Guel's father, the other Jeturk, is the guy who was trying to assassinate Mio's father.
Yeah,
because as we learn, Guel is what we call the holder. He's like the highest ranking student in this academy.
Right.
And it would mean a lot for him politically. And also what happened was so Mio's father basically said, my daughter's gonna marry the holder. Right. And so the older Jeturk was thinking, all right, if I kill him, my son's gonna be married to his daughter. I'm going to inherit a lot from this guy.
That's right.
So that was the motive there to like have him assassinated.
Mm-hmm. And
however,
in
the first episode, though, the assassination plan's about to be a go, but Guel basically and his like cohorts like smash up Mio's like garden greenhouse she has, starts squishing her tomatoes and shit.
Yeah, that's right.
And so Suletta challenges Guel to a duel, saying, "You're really mean. Let's fight." And Guel's like, "Ha ha ha!
Like you're the new kid. What can you do?" Which we've seen a lot, right?
You see that in every form of anime.
It's
every
like
form.
Oh,
in the shonen stuff.
Everything.
You got it. Basically every fucking episode of Spirit Chronicles.
Right. Literally every episode of Spirit Chronicles, because he's always the new kid every town he goes to. That goddamn Rio.
Do you hate how much we remember about Spirit Chronicles?
I hate how much we remember about Spirit Chronicles. We even watched the whole first season. When's the second one coming out? I can't wait.
I believe next year.
Great.
Next year is that and High School DxD season 5, so we got a lot to look forward to.
We got a lot to do. But so did Suletta Mercury.
Because Suletta was too busy wiping the floor with
oh my god.
But Guel.
I want to point out something about this first too. And I want to give them a little credit.
Right.
Because of course this scene between Suletta Mercury and Guel, I thought was going to set up, like the new kid who everybody's like, oh, they're the new kid, they can't do anything, like comes in and just beats the absolute shit out of Guel and just completely eviscerates him, which happens. But there was a nice interlude there where it made me think, oh, are they going to go in a different direction here? Where Mio comes in when Suletta's about to fight Guel and is like, no, you don't fight my battles for me. I fight my battles. I'm going to do it.
Right.
And then she gets in the mobile suit.
She gets an Ariel.
Yes. Suletta's Gundam.
Who is very much our Gundam for this. Ariel's our lead Gundam.
Yes. Lead Gundam.
They haven't called it a Gundam in the show yet because of like the connotations within the show itself. But all the merchandising says Gundam Ariel. So yeah, this is our Gundam. This is our main mech for the season.
Main mech.
It's super modern. It's still a Gundam, but clearly they're trying some new stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not trying to knock it. When I first saw it, I'm like, okay, modern. But what's cool is Ariel is fucking a weird Gundam, man, because the whole and so Mio tries to control it, right? And of course the Gundam's barely responding to her. It's like, you're not my friend. I'm not going to do shit for you. So Mio's getting tanked by Guel. And
it's like you trying to be friends with somebody else's cat.
Exactly. It just
it's
doesn't
like,
work.
I don't know, man. You're going to have to spend a lot more time here. You're going to have to know everybody.
I got to really get to know you. You got to pet me just the right way. You could take that audio and do what you want with it, sailor.
Pet me with your eyes.
Oh my god. But So what happens is, so Mio's getting floored, and Sled is like, "Oh my god, no, it's okay. You're in my mobile suit, so let me defend us." And next thing you know, you see Ariel's combat capabilities, and you're like, "Holy shit, this thing's overpowered."
Yeah.
So Ariel has the shield, and this is so hard to explain. So if you haven't watched the show, if you haven't, but if for those who are looking to for a deciding vote here, I'm gonna try to explain to you how this fucking mechanic works. Basically, the shield breaks apart into maybe like a dozen flying pieces that all shoot lasers. So basically, Ariel runs around with a bunch of lasers flying through the air, shooting things.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
And it has the beam saber, the classic Gundam iconography. And so once Soletta takes over, she just wrecks house. She beats the shit out of Guel. And then that's when we learn Mio's like, I have to marry the holder. You're the holder now. You're my groom. That's where the first episode ends. And by that point, my head was in my hand going,
yeah, me too. I was
what
like,
are we doing
What
here?
is happening? Because I thought that was really funny, actually, too. The more I thought about it, I was like, this is hilarious. I get it. And at the time, I was like, I can't believe everybody's so into this, too. Like, Mio is like, oh, yeah, since you beat him, that means you're my husband now. And she was like, excuse me?
You're like, hello, ma'am? What?
A great end to the first episode, I think.
It was a strong end. And then the next episode, it's Soletta going, what the fuck? I mean, I can't be your husband. You're a woman. I'm a woman. And Mio's like, I don't know where you're from. This happens all the time here. So, Gundam progressive much?
Very progressive. LGBTQG for Gundam.
Oh my fucking god. I wasn't ready for that. I just wasn't. I should have seen that coming a mile away, but it did just still got me.
Good job, Gundam. That's great. I like that we're progressing in society and in anime. But of course, it comes out that Mio's like, oh, well, I'm obviously not really going to marry you. We'll figure this out. And we still have time to figure it out. And she's very chill about it. And and Soletta's like, no, what do you mean?
That's for a while. Soletta has more to worry about because after the duel, they launch an investigation. We're like, we think this is a Gundam.
Yes, that's right.
And Soletta's like, no, it's not a Gundam.
She's like, no, what? That's Ariel. That's not a Gundam. And they're like, it's a Gundam. And she's like, no.
So they impound the Gundam.
Yep, and they imprison her at the school.
They imprison her on the verge of expelling her.
Yes.
And then eventually, Lady Prospera shows up, who is from Mercury, who's behind the corporation developing the Gundam. Mm-hmm. And she has a mask on. And because she was saying the attack of several years ago, when the invasion happened, when they killed the gun people, it cost her part of her face and her arm. She takes off her arm, and it's like, wait a minute, wasn't Elnora missing an arm? Oh my god, it's Elnora!
Yeah, yep, I caught that too.
Yeah, then we're like, oh my god, it's Elnora. She's developing what's actually a Gundam, and basically she has to go before this committee of all the people, all the government officials saying, no, it's not a Gundam. Don't expel my daughter.
Yeah. And she has I can't remember exactly the verbiage she uses, but she has a lot of technical reasons or loopholes in the giant robot building system in this space academy where she's like, well, it can't be a Gundam because this, and this, and we also have this.
I kind of glanced over those because
me too. It wasn't important, but
it kind of felt like when they were giving me all the technical details in Evangelion, where I'm just like, I don't really care.
You can tune out right now. It's not necessarily they're just doing this because they have to. It's not like it's not like it's going to impact.
It's Prospera outsmarting them.
Yes, exactly.
And
that's
at one point, during this meeting, Mio just shows up and goes, Dad, what are you doing? Why are you imprisoning my friend? What are you doing?
She's like, why are you imprisoning my future husband? It's like, what?
And then her dad's like, Mio, just get out of here, please. You're bothersome as usual. And Mio's like, I fucking hate you. I'm gonna go break out my husband, and then we're leaving for Earth. And then the council's like, whatever. Jeturk, Guel's father the entire time is like, that duel, ba 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 ba. It's like, you just want your son to be Holder again. Shut up. And he's like, oh, they know my plan. It's like you basically have your plan tattooed on your big forehead,
Yeah, you
sir.
big idiot. Everybody knows your plan, sir.
So like that whole council scene just had me laughing. Mio charging in like she owns the place, and then I believe it's the next episode. She tries to break out Suletta. It's like, we're leaving. And Soletta's like, but there's still so much I wanted to do. I wanted to go on dates, which is basically how she delivers the line.
So funny.
And Mio's like, well, you and I can go on dates when we're married. It's whatever. But we're only 16, so it's not going to happen for at least a year. So, I mean, let's figure out if we actually want to do this thing. And it's like, and Soletta's like, Mio, you're going back and forth on this whole marriage thing a lot. And Mio's like, yeah, the writers are too, so it doesn't really matter.
The writers are too. They really are. It's like, we just need a straight answer from somebody here. And she's like, well, can't give it to you. Sorry.
But then again, they're 16 years old, so no one can give you a straight answer at anything.
True. Makes sense.
At that time in life. So, but what happens is they're like, all right, Soletta, we're not going to expel you, but we're going to arrange a rematch. And it's just like, and this time we know you don't have a Gundam, but no surprises, no tricks. However, Guel's father immediately starts organizing tricks.
Yes. Oh, complete tricks. He does something to change the environment of the entire battle. He changes the what is it? The terrain.
Yeah, the weather system.
Also disables the ability for Suletta to use a specific ability on her Gundam that...
Well, what he does, he starts having it rain, and when it rains,
right.
it counteracts the beam weaponry. So
yes, that's right.
It can't generate enough heat to which is kind of stupid, but
dumb.
It can't generate enough heat to actually use the lightsaber, which is what it is. It's a fucking lightsaber.
It's a fucking lightsaber, right? So
Gundams are robots with lightsabers. Why do you think I love it so much?
Right, it's really cool. I mean, who could not like it?
Who could not love it? But anyway, so that is happening, and I got to give a credit to Guel here because he's going again, it's all there's in the first 3 episodes, there's a cool little sub narrative about people fighting their own battles. Mm-hmm. One goes like, "You're not even gonna let me fight my own battles. I can win this. Right. I don't need your tricks."
And he wants to win without any assistance from anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
And his father refuses to let that happen and gives him the assistance. But eventually, I mean, Mio.
Eventually, what happens is Mio steals a maintenance robot and crashes into the control room where the 2 kids are trying to fuck with it.
Body slams herself into this control room.
And it's like, you guys aren't fucking over my husband today.
Yep.
And then she's radios Suletta. It's like, hey, it's an even playing field now. And Soletta's like, Mio. And then she's like, oh, wait, I have fighting to do. Because Suletta very much has that characteristic. Anyway, so Suletta just gets very, focused. It's kind of like Festus from 2007 SmackDown, where, once the bell rings, Suletta is just on and ready to go.
You did it. You mentioned Festus. Biscuits and gravy made me a man.
It's a pretty organic way to bring it up. So I'm proud of
very
myself
organic. Very well done. I applaud you, sir.
But yeah, so that's kind of the thing here. So once Suletta realizes it's an even playing field, again, she just kicks the shit out of Guel. And that's where we think the 3rd episode's going to end, with her being reinstated in the school, no problem. Mm-hmm. With, Guel's father murders intent cooled for a little bit.
Yes.
So it looks like we're going to have some semblance of peace for at least a little while, until Guel gets out of the Gundam, gets on one knee and says, Suletta, will you marry me? And then that's when the 3rd episode abruptly cuts after Suletta goes, eh? Oh. So that's where the 3 episodes ended. It's just crazy because when you watch the prologue to this, I didn't expect any of these plot points at all. I was expecting an entirely different show.
Me too. I was expecting a whole different thing from what we got.
Yeah.
That's not to say what we got wasn't good. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. But, even in the Chainsaw Man talked about this. Sometimes not getting what you expected is actually much better.
It actually can be a good thing.
In this case, I would argue that it wasn't.
For me personally, no, it wasn't.
Me neither. I thought we were going to get more of I don't know. I feel like it was going to be more of a 3-dimensional story that we got, but it ended up being a pretty, with high points. It surely had some high points, but it really kind of came back as a little flat and a little just regular, you know?
It was underwhelming for what the prologue offered. I will say that right now. But the thing is, Gundam series typically run a little longer. So I'm wondering if, because for example, this run, it might be 26 episodes, and then they might come back and do another 26 later on. So we could get 2 seasons of this. We could get we could get like up to probably 50 episodes or more.
See, the thing is, being 3 episodes in on a Gundam series sounds like it is not like being 3 episodes in on any other series, because any other anime could be like a 12-episode situation.
But look what they did here, though. They still structured it kind of like in a 12-episode way.
They did.
I have no idea how many episodes it's going to go for, but I think at the end of the day, they still knew they had 3 episodes in to hook people, because they ended up on a couple cliffhangers in those 3 episodes. So they're trying to sink people. They're trying to say, hey, here's the characters, here's our world. Is it different than a lot of other Gundam iterations? Yes, very much so. But for me as a Gundam boy, do I appreciate the differences? And as of right now, my honest answer is I'm not sure yet. I'm really not. So I'll get to the question right now, because the question we ask with these 3 episode rules is very simple. Are you in? Are you out? I am barely holding on, but I'm in.
Did you watch the fourth episode yet?
Not yet. I had other shit to do.
Yeah.
I've been busy.
I get it.
No, it just I did, and also just that's the problem. I wasn't that motivated to watch it. I'm just like, all right, I'll get to it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna give Gundam a chance to keep going. But the first 3 episodes didn't do a whole lot for me. Again, I'm really hoping they turn this around. I'm hoping it does the Devilman thing, where it starts off light, then just gets fucking dark. Yes, tons of other fiction did it before Devilman, but in terms of anime, it's like, in manga, it's one of the first well-known to really do it. The Eva thing, the ranking of kings thing I said before.
Right.
I'm gonna give it a chance, but I'm not as in as I thought I'd be.
I get it. I think I went into this expecting, again, as we said, something completely different as what you've told me from Gundam series in the past, and they just seem very like 3-dimensional stories, 360, like you get everything in there. You get some twists, you get some turns. There's a lot of dark plot points in a lot of the seasons.
Yeah.
This one, I was really excited for that, and really, really excited to get into that. But it seems like, I feel like this may be a bad place to start for me for Gundam, to be honest. I think it's a bit
quite possible.
It's a bit light. So I guess you could argue maybe even a good place to start for Gundam, because it's so just similar to a lot of other things I've seen before. And I guess
it just sucks because the things that you've seen before that are similar to it weren't good.
Right. And I don't want it to be like those things, because those things did not excite me really much at all. This was, I'll give it some merit. I think it was pretty engaging at times, especially about like the marriage angle and stuff. I thought that was pretty funny. I think it like knew when to turn up the comedy and knew when to kind of focus a little bit more on the characters. I get that. Right. Overall, I think I'm out. I'm not really. I'm not really like. I don't think it really for me. I feel like I understand if you kept watching it, because as like a person that really just enjoys Gundam as a series. As a franchise, I think you would be happy to at least like interested to continue. For me, knowing barely enough about it, I'm just not interested to continue with this. I feel like it's fine. I'm not saying it's bad. It's like pretty okay, but comparatively to things I've heard from you and from others about other Gundam series, I feel like I should just instead watch a different Gundam series, to be honest.
I'm kind of tempted to say, honestly, you probably should. There's one I'm going to recommend. We can maybe it's like a good palette cleanser. We can dive into some old school Gundam, maybe one of the shorter OVA series. Just have some fun with it.
That sounds fun. No, I would really like to experiment this franchise elsewhere, but here it just didn't really, it didn't really do it for me. But it also just didn't really like, I don't know. It didn't really make me feel like I thought it would, or open any new doors for me in terms of narrative.
No, that's the thing, because they didn't do it again. We brought this point up when we talked about Chainsaw Man. You don't always need originality, but you still need to be engaging.
Right.
And what we got here was both unoriginal and not particularly engaging yet.
Not too much. I thought the best part about it was the politics, which is just so weird. Not the giant robot fights. I thought the political scenes of dialogue were my favorite.
The giant robot fights were good, though. I gotta say, the mechs
were cool.
look good.
They were really cool.
But then again, you need substance behind it. You need You need to care about the characters in order for those scenes to mean a lot.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I guess we're just kind of like pretty lukewarm on this one, unfortunately.
Pretty lukewarm on it so far. I'm gonna continue with it personally to see where it goes. We might have another Spirit Chronicle situation where I continue with it and I say, hey, this is worth the watch,
or not. And we can. Yeah, I'm sure we'll address this maybe in like a bonus episode coming up.
I think we gotta do more of those. We haven't done one.
Yeah, I know. We gotta do another one of those. We got to get back to our monthlies on those. But I think that'd be really cool to just come back in and just check in with you and just see like, oh, hey Rob, like what's up with that? What's up with Witch from Mercury? Is it any good? Yes or no?
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. But until then, everybody.
Until then, I'm gonna go take a hot runny shit because I've been holding it in for the past few minutes. So
enjoy that hot runny shit.
I will.
It's bad.
Wow, oh my god, what a rousing podcast of anime conversation. Am I right, my compares? Am I right, my weebdom? Anywho, yeah, you can send us a message if you want. Did you like this podcast? Did you hate this podcast? Do you want to kill me? Do you want to drench me in Calaxosaur blood and watch me drink it? That's fine. Just send us an email at badanimepod@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram at badanimepod, all one word. You can also find us on YouTube as Bad Anime, and you can leave a comment on whatever video you want to leave a comment on. We'll read them all anyways. We don't care. I love you. Kiss, kiss.
Simple Equations Podcast Network.